What's the dumbest rule you had in school? We couldn't wear winter clothing in class. Coats, gloves, hats, even with the heat on. It got cold in the winter inside the school, so we just had to freeze. They said it was because winter clothing were gang symbols. This was a farm town in Wisconsin. We could not touch each other. All physical contact was banned. There was one teacher that claimed if it wasn't for this rule, we would all be running around impregnating each other. Ah, yes, truly the time of my life. This could really develop some negative complexes around touching people when you get older. When I was in high school, taking my second year of photography class, everyone was called into the auditorium for an assembly. It was to announce that cameras were no longer allowed to be used on campus due to privacy issues. This was about 2 weeks after the school had installed security cameras everywhere in the school. In primary school, we weren't allowed to put our rubbish from our lunches in the bin. I distinctly remember being in an assembly where the head teacher said your lunchbox is your bin. I mean, did she think the bins were for decoration? So stupid. Our teachers did this in elementary school, but it only applied to food waste, like apple cores, sandwich crust, etc., because they didn't want the garbages to stink or gather flies. We were still allowed to throw out wrappers and things like that. No one was allowed to have or say the word Dr. Pepper because it was the password to a shared Brazzers account the administration found out about. Oh, that's hilarious though. The boys weren't allowed to wear shorts at my middle school, but the girls could wear culottes, basically shorts with a fancy name. One day about 100 boys came to school wearing culottes. The man had it stuck to him hard that day. In second grade, only one boy and one girl were allowed to go to the bathroom at a time. I had to pee so bad that I was shaking and this kid took a stupid amount of time to get back. He finally came back and I had to wait in a line to his desk and he finally said I could go pee myself on the way there. Frick you, Mr. Benish. I'm going to make sure my kids know that if they actually have to go to the bathroom and they're being denied, to just go. I'll take care of the rest. My middle school banned hugs. At least, they banned front hugs. The rule was against chest-to-chest contact, regardless of context or gender. No chest bumps after a game. Several girls got in trouble for hugging their female friends goodbye after school. It was a strange place. Obviously just hug from behind. No colored shoelaces. Apparently it was a sign of gang affiliation. No toe shoes. It looked too much like you were wearing only socks. No eating outside the cafeteria. This was to reduce litter in the hallways, but our school cafeteria could only fit 100-ish people, so everyone ignored it. They tried enforcing it by guarding the cafeteria doors so those buying lunch couldn't leave, but then people just stopped buying school lunch. Joke's on them. I'm from the beige gang. No water bottles because a few girls 4 years ago snuck vodka into the bathroom. I snuck water and vodka bottle to pay. At my grade school we weren't allowed to wear ankle socks. You would get detention if you did. No Simpsons anything. This was when it premiered, and there was this national scare that Bart was a bad influence. There were 2 popular Bart shirts that were banned. One that said I'm Bart Simpson. Who the heck are you? And another that said Bart Simpson. Underachiever and proud of it. This eventually evolved into banning all Simpsons shirts, school supplies, stickers, etc. after some of the teachers started watching the show. A lady who lived across the street spearheaded this campaign in our town. Decades later I met a showrunner from The Simpsons and told him about it. He told me teachers like that put his kids through college. They boys were not allowed to have doors on our stalls. We had a brick wall about 4 feet high between toilets with nothing in front. They said boys would ruin them. Girls were not supposed to hold hands or else they would turn lesbian. It wasn't the rule, but the wording. Grade 9. They made an announcement that you couldn't show your butt crack in the school. The admin decided to word that as no back cleavage. In elementary school, we couldn't kick a ball at recess because the school was afraid we would kick the balls to the top of the building. The janitor would go on top of our school once a week and just toss ball after ball down. We would throw our hands in the air and cheer. Mark was our god and we were his disciples. Needing to wait 10 minutes before and after classes have started to use the restroom. My adolescent body with developing Crohn's disease did not take kindly to this rule and got into fights with the bathroom monitor often. Someone who would make sure nobody was in the bathroom for too long doing drugs, having sex, other things of the sort. Thankfully the principal had a heart of gold and gave me a special pass to use his personal private bathroom, which was so nice and clean. In a high school of 5,000 teenagers, being able to poop in peace at the rate you go with Crohn's disease made my life somewhat less shitty, pun intended. As a longtime Crohn's afflicted person, that is such a sweet blessing. Your principal deserves a hug. No balls over the diameter of 1.4 feet. My school was weirdly accurate. We still brought in footballs. No balls over 1 foot. Brought in smaller footballs. No balls over 10 centimeters. Brought in tennis balls. No balls over 5 cams. Pelted the windows with our dad's golf balls. Eventually got removed due to the fact that the word ball could be misinterpreted. Exclamation point. No balls over the diameter of 1.4 feet. Well, I can't make it to class. In 3rd grade we had to have playmates. It basically meant that we couldn't play with our friends on the breaks recess. We had to play in a group. That group was filled with students from other classes too. Not fun. Can't wear red to school. So stupid. No hats was basically the only dress code my school had. The dumbest thing was Marizo. The reasoning behind it. It was put into effect after Columbine because apparently different groups, jocks, nerds, goths, etc., wore different headgear to differentiate themselves. No hats was basically the only dress code my school had. In Australian schools, it is compulsory to wear hats when in the playground. Skin cancer prevention. Of course, in Australia, all schools have uniforms, so there is a common hat that everyone should be wearing. We weren't allowed to be indoors for more than 5 minutes at recess. This was in Canada, and indoor recess started when it was below -25°C. Instances of school-wide diarrhea really shot up during the winter. We didn't have school once because it was -9°F, -23°C. They didn't want students standing outside. I was in high school. I'm in an area where we don't normally go negative. I couldn't imagine having recess in that. At any point you may not talk during lunch, and may not laugh at large stools in the bathroom. I crap you not. Excuse the pun. Our school banned black socks. It was a public high school in a predominantly poor neighborhood, so the parents didn't give a crap and bought whatever socks were cheapest or didn't have the money to buy all brand new socks again. It got to a point where we'd have whole school assemblies on it and the teachers threatening to suspend kids from school for wearing black socks. Couldn't wear flip-flops because they were considered a weapon, but you could wear stiletto heels. La chancla. No one could wear Joe's Crab Shack shirts. At first it was just the tie-dye ones that said, peace, love and crabs. Because of the implication of sex and pubic lice, I suppose. It was a stretch, but then they expanded to any Joe's Crab Shack shirts. My friend had to wear a pay shirt all day because her shirt was a Joe's Crab Shack shirt. It didn't have offensive slogan on it. It just had a picture of a crab and the restaurant's name. She still had to change shirts. She was so embarrassed because no one wants to wear your pay shirt all day. In grade school we were told not to use spoons. Only babies used spoons. Yet they gave us spoons. I'm an adult. You can tell because I'm enjoying my soup with a fork and knife. Clear or mesh backpacks only. This was from 1st grade through high school in the late 90s to early 2000s. We also had to wear a safety vest as our bathroom pass in high school. It was such a joke that the first year the rule was introduced, our yearbooks were a giant safety vest on the outside. Honestly, the thought of a shared unisex safety vest for bathroom visits still grosses me out, as I know those things were never washed properly. In primary school, we weren't allowed to use erasers. We were never told why. Halfway through 8th grade they decided to ban all beverages including water from use by 8th graders. A couple of kids brought vodka in a water bottle to school and they decided the best option was no liquids at all. We couldn't even bring in sealed beverages or unopened cans because they could have been tampered with. Unopened cans because they could have been tampered with. Yeah, I injected 5 cc's of beer into this can of soda. Prepare to get wasted. Buses were not allowed to depart at the end of the school day until the flag on the flagpole outside the main entrance had been taken down and properly put away. If someone forgot, all the buses would sit there idling for as long as it would take until the flag was dealt with. Imagine being a bus driver trying to keep a schedule and being like, sorry guys, the flag wasn't down, I couldn't leave the school when they were late to their next route. In middle school, had a stupid as all heck one-way hallway system, where students could only walk in the halls one direction. Made me late twice actually, since my class was the first one behind the exit door, but forced to go in the entrance door. Was enforced even when halls were empty. One stick in the mud teacher threatened to write me up if I questioned the rule. Went to a Catholic school where there was a big white line painted across the schoolyard, and during recess boys played on one side and girls on the other. We were not allowed to intermingle during recess even though we weren't separated during class or lunch. I'm a guy and all my friends were girls, so we used to stand at the line and talk. Go in trouble many times for that. Also in high school, post-Columbine, we weren't allowed to carry backpacks around the school. We had to leave them in our lockers and carry our heavy-ass textbooks around. Dang, my school had this too until you hit like 6th grade I think. Also a Catholic school. I forgot about that rule. In middle school we weren't allowed to talk at lunch or else we would get put up on the wall and get handed a detention. Like a clean version of heck. Well, 3 of them. No mechanical pencils or any pens that click. Teachers found that crap annoying. No peeing outside the toilet or urinal. Common decency, but if you're caught, you will get a call to your parents. The rule isn't stupid. It's actually really good, but the people who it's targeted at are. Zero tolerance policy. It's in nearly every school. I haven't had any encounters, but it does strike people hard. Imagine getting beat up and getting punished for being beat up because you happened to be involved even though you did nothing. It's a dong of a rule. Girls couldn't wear tank tops because showing armpits wasn't allowed, but guys could wear wife beaters. It made no sense. No chains on wallets back in the day when chain wallets were the thing, so dudes replaced their chains with pearl necklaces as an FU to admin. No black lipstick allowed. Oh, and they were really concerned about starter jackets and gang activity. This was a small farm town of like 700. Total overreaction. Also, most high schools allow you to attend a shorter day if you've met your graduation credits, but we had to sit all day, and sometimes that meant having 2-3 study halls if we had already met requirements. Such a waste of time. Backpacks weren't allowed to be worn during the school day in middle school. It was the dumbest thing since you wear your backpack everywhere in high school and college. At an all-girls high school, no ankle socks because ankles can attract boys and make them have sex with you. Ankles led to legs, and legs led to up there, and we all know what's in that area. I feel like the head of the school knew nothing about people. Hair couldn't be extreme, colored or past earlobes for guys, as it would be considered a distraction to others. I had long hair past my shoulders and would not cut it. Was in ISS a lot. It's a silly thing to get detention for. Kids don't go to school to be told how to dress and how they should look. I remember how much of an impact the Breakfast Club movie had on me in my junior high days. My school was the same. Our hair couldn't touch our eyebrows, and males couldn't have any facial hair except well-groomed mustaches, and hair rules didn't apply to staff. On the first day of class, my 7th grade writing teacher demanded that we all buy comfortable pens. On the second day of class, she went desk to desk sampling our choices. Several students, myself included, experienced awkward embarrassment when she slammed down our pathetic pens and shouted nope. When I was a freshman in high school, late 80s, there was a designated smoking area on campus. It was a square, maybe 10 feet x 10 feet, painted on the ground in the courtyard. Students could only smoke in that box on campus. The next year they decided that you could only smoke in that box if you had a note from your parents. The year after that, no students were allowed to smoke on campus. My senior year, staff wasn't allowed to smoke on campus. This resulted in the box metaphorically moving to someone's driveway across the street, where students and teachers were all smoking together. Bandanas and headbands that were similar to bandanas were banned in ad. The reason was that it increased gang violence among 11-14-year-olds in the suburbs of a small town in Canada. You have been visited by the Lord of the Good Boys. Comment who's a good boy to instantly become part of the good boy squad. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.